So the very first time I came to speak here, it's been a couple years now, I shared with you something that's really meant a lot to me, a tool that I have used, that I have discovered works for other people too. A tool for how to find what's actually important. Seems like a no-brainer, but it's kind of a big deal. I mean, we talk all the time about change your thinking, change your life. We talk all the time about how go do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, and that's great. But the next question is, yeah, but what? That's cool. I'm amped up. Where am I going after the pep rally I get on Sunday morning? What am I supposed to do with this information? And the thing that I shared with you, and the reason for review is because we're going to double down and go to the next step, and I think it's been long enough for part 2. The thing that I shared is this. You can tell if something is important, if something is worthwhile, if something is real, if when you do it, it increases. If you put into something and more comes out, it's real. It can tell you who you are. If you spend your time on it, if you give and it dwindles, if it goes away, it's not real, or it's not important, or it's not worthy of your time, and it sure as heck can't tell you who you are. So, you can spend your time thinking about money, and I get it, a lot of people do, but when you give $1, you have $1 less. Or you can spend your time thinking about something like love. When you give it, you get more. Friendship, when you give it, you get more. Respect, honor, intensity, integrity, inspiration, passion, time. You know, these sorts of things. You get to decide what tells you who you are, what's worthy of your attention. But that's last time. Let's review. I can put all that a very different way very, very quickly. God does not get tired. So if I get tired, it means that I'm giving from the wrong place. God does not get tired, so it means if I'm getting tired, if my life wears me out, then I'm giving from the wrong place. And it's not anything to beat yourself up about, because that's exhausting too. But it's time for reevaluation. And I know that seems like a funny thing, because I have been taught in school, in science class or whatever, that the universe is slowly dwindling down. There's things like entropy and time's arrow and thermodynamics and stuff. That the universe is just sort of grinding down, that everything just sort of wears out and goes away and runs out and you know. I've been taught those things in science class. You probably have too. And I get it. I really do. And yet, you and I have had moments where we put in and got more out. Like I said, those moments when you're in love, those moments when you know something and you just know it in your bones, those moments when something is just so awesome and so exciting and so real that you feel fuller, picked up instead of let down, you know? Something else is going on there. And it seems unreal that it can happen, but that's the magic that we look for. And when we look for it, it turns out that the universe is really good at it. If you really look, there are lots of places where there is increase, where there is abundance, and not just abundance, but rather an increase in sophistication, in complexity, in interest, in wonder, in everything good. Subatomic particles become atoms. Atoms become molecules. Molecules become cells. Cells become organisms. Organisms become you. It turns out the universe is really good at growing in complexity and putting itself together all the time. It's happening all the time, and it seems crazy. It would be like if you left some eggs and flour and milk out on the kitchen counter and came in the next morning and there was a chocolate cake waiting for you. And yet, here's the quote, the universe is really good at making chocolate cake all the time. It happens all the time. And there's a mystery and there's a wonder about it, because subatomic particles don't know anything about atoms. Atoms don't know anything about molecules. Molecules don't know anything about cells. Cells don't know anything about organisms. Organisms don't know anything about you. And yet, there's this leap that happens each and every time. The universe is good at this. And it's the leap that we're looking for. So not more of the same. If you're looking for something to spend your time on, yes, look for the things that increase when you give to them. But I'm not talking about more flour, more sugar, more eggs, more milk. I'm talking about more cake, man. Aren't I always? Find the things that make the leap. And I have to tell you, that is something that I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for. I didn't get it. I didn't know that the leap was what was important. I grew up in New Thought. I had the idea that what I think about is what I get in my life, and that's true, but it ain't the whole truth. I grew up with this quote. You ready? It's called the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind reproduce after their kind. Maybe you've heard something along those lines. And there is a truth to that. Again, I grew up with Bible stuff like, as you think in your heart, so shall you be. Or one of my favorites, do not be conformed to the ways of this world, but rather be ye transformed by a renewing of your mind. Like your life, change your mind, in other words. Okay, I like that. I grew up with that. And it works. It works. You know that. You're sitting here because of it. You know that the way that you think, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you speak, the way that you act increases in your life. You get that. We get that. That's what we do. I understand. It works until it doesn't work. It works, but it ain't the whole thing. Because you and I both have had experiences where it's like, how come I got the ideas? I read the book. I took the class. How come? I want to talk about the how come moment. Because it's very important. And it's very important because sometimes when people get to the how come moment, they blame themselves. They feel like failures. They feel like, well, I'm not doing this right. If I think pink bicycle, pink bicycle, pink bicycle, it's unlikely that a pink bicycle is just going to arrive in my life. It's not just about repetition. And it's not if I just wear God out with the same request over and over again, it's going to work. I used to think, see if this resonates with you. I used to think that if my stuff wasn't working, if my prayer thing, my affirmation thing wasn't working, if I wasn't getting what I wanted, that I just had to think harder. Maybe you've been told that by some well-meaning person. Maybe you interpreted that by some great book. I just got to think harder. How is that different than the church you used to go to telling you got to have more faith?
Okay.
How is that different? You just got to pray harder because God is not listening all the time. Ooh, that's the same yucky stuff. And it works just as poorly. Because that is not how this works. What is required is a different kind of leap into something different. This is a different idea. And I'll put it differently. What I have learned, stick with me here, is that the universe does not fit between my ears. This is important because sometimes people read these things about mind action and change your thinking and they think, well, this is all of it. This is all in here, man. And even when it doesn't work, they don't tell anybody, but they're secretly going, oh, I just got to figure out how to think more. If I can just cram more stuff in here. Take another class, read another book. Look, I want you to take classes. I want you to read books. It's good, but it ain't everything. The awesomeness of the moment when you fall in love, the awesomeness of the thermodynamic miracle that is your life, the awesomeness of this cannot be contained between your ears. If it can be encapsulated, then it ain't God. How about that? So maybe we need to look in a different place. Maybe it's time for a different kind of leap. In other words, if this isn't working, don't blame yourself, but look for something different. When we have those moments where the thing doesn't work, or when we have those moments when we are so inspired and bowled over and brought to tears by how beautiful, by how beautiful this is. We have a choice. We can go for more of the same. We can retreat into comfort and mediocrity. or we can look for the leap. We can go somewhere outside ourselves instead of just rattling around in this echo chamber of me and my ego and more of me and my ego. Let our prayers and affirmations no longer be, God, more me, please. More of my stuff. And I know that might sound a little bit challenging. It was challenging for me to start thinking in these terms because I also grew up with the idea of the rugged individual. I don't know, maybe this is only child stuff, I don't know. I'll sit down on the couch and we can talk about me. But I really had that idea that if it is to be, it is up to me. Those kinds of affirmations, and I'm going to do it. And we're given that a lot, aren't we, in our culture? There's this idea, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make something of yourself, and you're on your own in this world. The thing about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is you can't. Physics is real. It doesn't work that way. None of it works that way. But what does work is if I can make everyone believe that they're on their own and everyone be in competition with everybody else, then I can control them. I can keep people small if I keep them from working together. And you do with that what you want. I don't believe in any big conspiracy, but I do believe that it's really convenient if, say, you're starting a church or a whatever, if I can keep people dependent by keeping them from working together, if I can make them believe that they are on their own. But here's what I have learned, and here's the thing that my wife and I have taught our kids. At some point with both of our children, when they got old enough to really get it, there's that time. What we said to both of them in different ways is this. This is the rule of maturity. Are you ready? Nobody ever does anything alone. That's the rule. I know I've been taught that being mature means just handling everything, but it doesn't work that way. Nobody ever does anything alone. You show me somebody that says, well, I'm a self-made person. You're not. You live in the context of other people. You stand on the shoulders of giants. You do things in the context of other people. And yes, we all have stories about somebody who let us down and wasn't there for us. I get that. And I'm sorry about that. But I'm also proud of you that you got here anyway. But you didn't get here on your own. You learned from somebody. Somebody loved you. Somebody gave you a moment. Something happened. You learned what not to do from somebody. That's cool too. Thank you for that. I got a lot of people to thank for what not to do. Woo! That's fine. Nobody ever does anything alone. And so I stop looking in here, and I start looking for my brothers and my sisters and my siblings and my family and my fathers and my mothers and my children out here. And I begin to realize something really important. Think about, for a moment, the people you love. The people who are in the same town as you, the people that you don't see all the time, the people on Zoom. Think about the people who you're not crazy about. You know the ones. They're on TV. Think about the people you see when you stop at a red light. People in traffic, people at the mall, at the grocery store. Here's the thing. They are us. They are us. There is one power. There is one heart. There is one love. I didn't even write that song. The Gospel of Bob Marley, ladies and gentlemen. But it's true. They are us. Everything that's true about you is true about them and vice versa. And when we know that we're all in this together, we begin to grow together. Everything you do to yourself too. What if I see that other person as my teacher? What if I see that other person as my friend? Look, the deal is that everything is connected to everything. There's this great John Muir quote, and I wrote it down because I've seen it a bunch of different ways on the internet. I know it's weird that things can vary on the internet. But anyway, John Muir. Here's the real quote. When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. Let me say that again. When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. You only understand a thing by its context, by its relationship to other things. You understand that sweater in context of other sweaters you've seen. That meal in context with other meals you've had, with other experiences you had. That moment in the context of other moments. Nothing is alone, and one of the things that means is that you're not. This is good to know. The idea that we're all on our own is an idea that's rooted in finite. It's rooted in limitation. But we know now that the universe is growing and expanding and increasing in complexity and sophistication all the time. The universe is good at infinity, right? So if I say I'm on my own, I am flying in the face of everything that's true. So look around. And it's true in the physical, biological world. It's true in the psychological world. It's true in the spiritual world. You know Joseph Campbell, suit guy? Joseph Campbell? That whole hero story? I'm fascinated by that. I think it speaks to the operating system that we all have installed, that we all tell that same story in so many different ways, and that's a beautiful thing. But I don't know if everybody knows that the final part of that story, Campbell calls Return with the Elixir. It's the part of the story where the hero goes and does a thing and slays the dragon and gets the cure and all of the good stuff, and the hero brings it back to the village to help other people. The end of the hero's story is take what you have learned and bring it back and help somebody else. That's the story. And I'm telling you that because I want to remind you, and sometimes I need reminding too, that if I'm feeling stagnant in my life, if the thing ain't working, if my prayer stuff isn't working, it's almost always because I forgot the last step. I'm stagnant because I'm not doing my job, and my job is to help someone else. It's not about my healing. It's not about my love, my fulfillment, my whatever it is. My story is our story. And unless I do that last thing and help somebody, feed somebody, heal somebody, love somebody, see somebody, then it ain't going to work for me. I'm never going to get to that place of, oh, okay, next chapter. That's why. If you feel like things are blocked in your life, go help somebody. Be there for somebody and watch how quickly the thing changes. This is a spiritual thing. The basic idea of church is not a building. You know the word doesn't mean building, right? You know the word doesn't mean Sunday and then brunch. It means the people. We are the church. We are the church. And rooted in every religious concept since the beginning is the idea that we're all in this together. In classical religion, the sin, if you want, the missing of the point on a cosmic level, the flub up, the mistake, is almost always, maybe even always, almost always the sin is a failure to welcome the stranger. A failure to see someone else as part of what you are. You want to mess up on a spiritual level according to classical religion. You name the flavor, it's always there. It's a failure to welcome the stranger, to let someone in, to love them. And people say, well, that's fine, I don't do that. I don't even see the differences. I practice tolerance. And to that I say, with all the love and respect in the world, because here's the thing. People mean well when they say that, but you do not tolerate something you love. You don't tolerate. Oh, how'd that date go? Oh, we tolerated each other all night. It's great. Come on. Let's do better. You don't see differences? Really? Like I said, people who say that mean well. I don't want to clobber anybody. But on the other hand, if I don't see differences, what I'm saying is that people who are a different color than me, who are a different gender than me, who are a different sexuality than me, who have more or less money than me, who vote differently than me, they have nothing to tell me. Do you mean to tell me that someone doesn't have a story to tell or something to teach me because they're a different color? Of course they do. And my failure to see the difference is my failure to learn. This is important. Don't say I don't see differences. See the differences. Don't love someone in spite of their differences. Love them because of their differences. If I am secure and mature, I love someone because of their differences. That's the difference. See it. Love it. Don't tolerate. Celebrate. That's the mode. That's the leap. That's the change. It's the change that shows me where God lives. You're having trouble finding your center? Think about where your center is physically. Pretty easy to spot, right? You can go, where's the center of the room I'm in? Pretty easy to spot. You go, where's the center of this building? Well, that might take a minute, but okay, I have a rough idea. Where's the center of this town? Well, that might take a minute, but I have a rough idea. Where's the center of this state? I don't have a rough idea. Where's the center of this country? It's like, I don't know, Kansas City, something like that. I get it. All of a sudden, it becomes easier when I zoom out. Where's the center of this planet? Well, I get that one. Where's the center of the Milky Way? Well, it's the sun. I get it. Finding the center doesn't have to be hard, but here's the leap. We're talking about God's stuff. And so we are talking about a circle with an infinite circumference. And in a circle with an infinite circumference, where's the center? The center is everywhere. All of a sudden, everything changes when I realize that the center is not just what fits in between my ears and in the books that I'm comfortable with, but the center is in you and in me and in them because they are us. That's the leap. How do you feel about that mystery? Hopefully you feel the same way that subatomic particles feel about atoms. Hopefully you feel the same way that atoms feel about molecules. Hopefully you feel the same way that molecules feel about cells and that cells feel about organisms. Because this doesn't stop with you and me. You want the leap. It doesn't stop with this physical body. The next leap for us is realizing that we together are more than we are individually. And our job is to come together in that way. Our job is to see it. You want to grow? You want to get past the next step of your life? You want to resolve the stagnation? Go help somebody. Go see somebody. Go love somebody. And go set somebody free. Because that's where there's cake. And because freedom is a choice.